Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Industrial Faith. Welcome to episode 27 of Factorio 4X, your 15-minute Factorio fix. The well darn is because between episode 26 and 27, I went out and researched why the rocket wasn't building. And of course, as I've said before, the rocket wasn't building because I removed all the materials and things for building the rocket. So now I have to figure out where I'm going to put all this stuff. So, for example, you need, in order to build the rocket control units, you need right there. I'm building some. You need fast level 1 speed modules. And now I'm like, okay, so if I build 4 here, I can really get those cranking. There's not enough room. I have this habit of mine, and it is a habit of sort of piggybacking other builds onto other assembly structures, I suppose you should say, has shown my mistake. So I'm trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do. So there we go. So that's all there. It's where I got to put. So yeah. So this episode is going to be dedicated to me rebuilding the structures needed to build the rocket. And here I realize my nice park has to go because the rocket has to go. So I'm sort of plotting where I'm going to put stuff. So I'm going to need a lot of these guys. So I'm looking, where does my stuff end? And I'm like, oh no. Trying to measure stuff and hope it works, and yeah. So, see you later, concrete. You've had it too good for too long, concrete. Well, I managed to jam everything in there, and here my inventory's full, so I'm going to make a couple boxes, steel boxes, so I can just jam stuff in there. So I've realized I'm going to have to rebuild across the. Yeah, so I've got fuel, just no rocket control assemblies. So I'm going to have to design everything to, again, build what I need. So my thing is I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get what I need to get, because green circuits is pretty threadbare. Tons of copper coming in, that's not an issue. But the rest of it is an issue. So this involves a lot of me pondering, sort of going, I'm going to build rocket fuel right there. Rocket fuel is going to be built at the top right there because I already have the light oil there. And all you need is light oil, some chemical plants, and some assemblers. Boom, done. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I have no idea why I said that. But now this is where blueprints could come in handy if I was messing with them, and I am not. So here if this copper line hasn't been putting copper into the bus forever. So here I'm going to be making green circuits. Now red circuits aren't an issue. We're flush, we're fat with red circuits. It's not a big deal. We're fine. So what I'm trying to do is now I'm just figuring out the besides getting more yellow belt. Do I have enough yellow belt? I probably do. Again, this system doesn't need red belt. Yellow belt is fine. The train is fine. So I'm just trying to figure out the spacing. And then I also need, I believe it's iron. Yes. So I'm kind of looking, where's the best place, of course, where's the best place to run iron? And I'm thinking, because I don't want it to have to go from too many places. So here's my grand compromise. And of course I'm using red belt for the iron because the iron always gets red belt. It has earned the red belt of honor. Not to be confused with the red badge of courage. This is slightly different and less impressive. So here I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get, how am I going to do what I need to do? I'm debating running a separate line of just green circuits. That copper flow. Whew. Get more assemblers, more inserters. Here I'm looking for, again, I'm looking for yellow belt because I don't need red. I don't want red. I don't care about red. Red for me is for throughput. Again, this being my first completed factory, spoiler alert. Well, I mean, I'm building the rocket. You kind of got that figured out anyways. It's, for being the first completed rocket, or factory, it's sort of, I'm learning what works and what doesn't. And I really think that red belts are great for throughput. I don't know if you'd want to build a system off of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you'd want to build I don't know if you'd want to build like this. What would the point of red belts be for these green circuits? I mean, would there be a point? I don't know. I don't think so. But I mean, if that's your choice, that's fine. If you can do it with, I think if you can do it with yellow belts, you probably should. So here I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to insert the green belts. And originally I wasn't going to insert them on the main line. I was just going to, all I was going to do was run them separately. And I figured, well, I have a bus. Let's put them on the bus. You know, bus, the magic bus, right? So here we go. Let's fill in up that. And we're going to, so 4 more. And from what I understand, this is sort of the traditional build for circuits. And here I'm making it balanced. I'm making it pre-balanced, so we get, you know, and I get to look and make sure I put everything on correctly, which I probably haven't. Oh, that's right. I didn't tell them what to build. So the reason you put the copper wire straight into the green circuit maker is just because it's faster. And from what I've noticed, assemblers will put extra material in their inventory, so they're not running out of material. So that's kind of a nice little shtick for that. So here I'm going to be moving stuff. There we go. Isn't that pretty? So now look at my green circuits, just fat and happy. Yeah. So now I've got to get I have to get red circuit and green circuit, because that's what I'm going to use for my control units, in addition to blue circuits. Because first you have to make, what do you call it? First you have to make the speed modules, and those are just red and green circuits. And then you take those, add blue circuits, I guess is the best way to put it, as well as you add blue circuits as well as red and green circuits again, and that's how you make those. So I've decided in the favor of more room, and this actually works out pretty well. I don't mind looping track around places. I think it's kind of fun. However, I will discover additional deficiencies in my system. For example, this isn't going to make enough plastic. Red circuits rely on plastic, so I'm going to have to, I end up pumping out my plastic throughput. So here I'm kind of looking at stuff, how to want to do it, and I realize if I wrap them around that way, I'm not going to be able to expand the system. Because that's what I want to do, is expand the system. So here we go. We're going to put these on one line because these things have such a slow build time that you don't actually need a lot. Putting things backwards always, and here we go. That's me just being weird with the track, making a little nice curve. Okay, now these make 1 every 30 seconds, so I have 5, so I can make 10 a minute. And if everything I have makes 10 a minute, that means I can build, what do you call it? I can build 1 rocket part a minute, as long as I have enough from everything else. I've got plenty of rocket fuel right now, but I will build more. Now this is going to eat all my red circuits, just like a fiend. So now I have to build my ultralight materials. Then again, I'm getting my underground belt because I really don't need all the stuff. And here I'm just playing around with robot frames. I'm just making things better. Oh, better. At this point, and there's my batteries. At this point, I was also thinking about possibly building more red circuits somewhere. However, I do not end up doing that. There's me getting more yellow belt, more inserters. Figuring out what I need. Now I actually have plenty of room to build this. It takes copper, plastic, and steel. The big item is it takes 10 steel, which is interesting because it's supposedly an ultralight material. Yeah, it's made out of steel. And I'm sure steel's light. It's lighter than iron. But is it lighter than plastic? I don't know. So here I'm doing that so I can, because I need these underground belts. Again, I'm going to be building an underground belt system. And because realistically this is my last structure I'm going to build, I'm just going to feed it all the steel. If it can take steel, it gets steel. Oh, and by the way, there we go. I forgot to tell it to put stuff in the chest. Putting the satellite in a chest like that, it will auto-insert when the rocket's done. It's pretty cool, actually. I was very surprised. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of neat. Very surprised. There we go. And each one of these will fit an assembler and the inserter, so it's pretty neat. I don't know if it was planned that way, but it works just fine. So there we go. We've got our first ones running, which is great. Not maybe not Tony the Tiger great, but still pretty great. There we go. Isn't that pleasant? And then I go, screw it. I've got a bridge here. Underground belts work through water. Fantastic. And again, I go, I don't want this. Or at least I don't like the way it looks. It looks unrealistic, so fine. Okay, another inserter. And these, there we go. And we're building. We're finally building again. It's like, ridiculous. So now my shortfall here is going to be steel. This little project eats all the steel, which is going to cause a problem. Now again, those I can build 10 a minute. That's not fast enough for me. I'm going to want more of those ultralight materials because we're kind of behind on them. Okay, so now I'm building rocket fuel. I need to get everything rolling here. I'm racing against the clock. I'm trying to make sure it's not an hour, and I'm just like, ugh. And here, just screw it. Put them there. Rock. Because I want to get this stuff ready to roll. And I don't know if you can hear it, but the neighbor kids are yelling. Good kids. There we go. All right, ready to go. Took this stuff up. Let me get all that set up. So, ladies and gentlemen, to wrap this up, thank you for joining me for the latest episode of Factorio 4X, your 15-minute Factorio fix. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Have a good night, and bye-bye.